Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshsnipes, and today, if you haven't checked out my channel before, this is your first video, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're into operator guides, map guides, tips and tricks videos like this one, because I do these all the time. So just stay tuned, make sure to be updated, see all the new things that come out on this channel. I try to do at least one or two a week. It's been one a week every so often, so that's what I'm going for. Obviously, try to bang those out as much as I can. But without further ado, today's video is going to be 5 tips to make you a better player in Rainbow Six Siege. And I feel like these tips today are really some key things that I feel like a lot of people may not know, or it's just kind of like something that you learn as you go that you might not have learned just quite yet. The 5 tips that we're going to be going over today is how to grenade from below, sort of the timing you see on that, how to play bullet holes. You know, a lot of people, especially more recently, have been using bullet holes, so I feel like if you can master bullet holes, you're going to be such a better player. Impact tricking, audio through walls, and then also bandit tricking, since those kind of go hand in hand. I'm going to show you a little bit about audio and how all that stuff kind of works and how it penetrates through walls. And then lastly, how I warm up, how a lot of people tend to warm up, and sort of what you do to get yourself ready when you're trying to hop on Rainbow Six Siege and you're just hopping on for the first time of the day or whatever. Without further ado though, let's hop right into today's video. So one of the basic things that I like to talk about is the fact that when you're using a frag grenade from downstairs, if you drone ahead of time and you kind of understand someone's going to be, say, behind half wall here, it's one of the most important things that you can do, because a lot of times if you do this without the enemy knowing, it's almost a guaranteed kill. Obviously assuming that someone doesn't move, but if you can get a good call out and a good grenade toss like you see me do here, you start seeing it go a little bit faster, and that's when you want to toss it. Obviously, you want to go through and practice this. This is a great way, though, to learn frag grenades, because not only does this work when you're throwing it underneath someone, but also if you're throwing it through a doorway, if you're trying to land it in a specific spot and you can't really bounce it off the wall to get there, that's a great way to learn, because you want it to kind of blow up in the middle of the air. You don't really want it to blow up and bounce off or anything like that. You want to get it just perfect. So here you're going to see it from the opposite view. I obviously used Jaeger just to show you that, hey, he has ADSs on half wall, but that doesn't matter when you're going downstairs and you're just going to throw a frag grenade from down below. I would definitely work on, there's so many different spots, and I feel like you can learn these spots just by doing a little bit of drone work and a little bit of vertical gameplay. I feel like if you play Buck already, you kind of understand where a lot of people tend to sit. Now, next up, we have bullet holes. Obviously, this is one of the key things that I feel like a lot of people still haven't learned about yet, but I feel like it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger in Rainbow Six Siege as people watch pros and as people watch semi-pros play in this game. This tends to be a very regular thing that we see. And it's not that bullet holes are new. I just feel like for whatever reason, they're starting to make a little bit of a resurgence right now. So here you see me just a little bit too high. My bullet hole is a tiny bit too high. So if someone was crouching, they might go right underneath the bullet hole. But right now you can see me obviously getting the bullet hole headshot. And for whatever reason, this just works so well. Because as you're going to see, in the next clip, I have my POV when someone's looking at me through a bullet hole, and it is one of the hardest things to see, especially if you're aiming your hollow or your reflex blocks it. You're definitely not going to see it, and someone's going to get an easy kill onto you immediately without you even really knowing where you got shot from until you see the kill cam. One of the biggest things too is the best way to counter bullet holes is try to drone ahead of time. So normally I would have droned CCTV and I would have seen that ahead of time. Next up, I'm going to show you 2 different ways of impact tricking. I don't know what this is exactly called. Mine is just impact tricking, but this is just to show you that you can throw an impact out a doorway onto the ground and actually get rid of a thermite charge. Now, you obviously wouldn't do this exact setup when you're playing on border, but it's just to give the example and show you what I'm talking about. So obviously you can see you can throw it through the doorway, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize this. Either doorways work, reinforcements that have been partly open, say by a Hibana or maybe even a Maverick, that also works really, really well. The impact grenades aren't very big. Now, this is more of a traditional impact trick that you're going to be seeing here. This is going to be on the jail wall, and this is normally when you open above a wall and you want to try and bounce it off of the ceiling or something that's above the wall outside. So you see there, it blows open or is about to blow open, thermite goes off, and I throw my impact over, basically getting rid of the thermite charge, doing my job, and keeping that wall safe and sound. Next up, this is just going to be a demonstration of how kind of audio, when you're listening to someone walking, how it kind of works through a wall and what you can and can't hear depending on what you have open. So if you're going to have nothing open, you're going to hear a really muffled sound. Even if someone does drop off a desk or something like that, it's going to be very muffled. But even if you put one punch hole or multiple punch holes, you'll definitely see here what that exactly sounds like and how you can use this to your advantage. So walk forward, backwards right now. All right, I don't hear anything. Okay, walk forward, backwards now. All right, now. How about now? So as you saw there, you could definitely hear a lot more as the wall is open. And guess what? That idea also carries on to when you're bandit tricking or kaid tricking or even mute tricking, if you can somehow time that correctly. But if you open up a wall like you see me doing here, you're going to hear a thermite being placed a lot easier than if you were to, say, have it closed or even just not have any punch holes in it or just leave it completely solid the way that it was before I started shooting at it. And this is one of the key things that I feel like when you get into higher levels of bandit and you kind of get to understand how bandit works and you start getting better and better at bandit tricking, this trick helps out so much because it's way easier to hear, especially if you have stereo headphones, which I feel like most, if not everyone, should at this point with gaming and the way technology has been working. If you have stereo headphones, this is going to make your life so much easier when you're trying to play this game. You might not even hear the bandit or the thermite being placed if you don't have the wall blown open. So make sure to blow it open and let's take a listen.
If you remain in this area.
Now, I hope that you guys actually heard the difference. I boosted the audio on both clips to the exact same levels so you could at least hear the difference. There is a little bit more muffle when the wall is closed, and you can definitely hear it, especially from far away. I feel like that's where you notice it the most, is when you're farther away from the wall. You can hear it a lot easier. But without further ado, let's hop on into the last clip of today and the last clip of the video and the last tip of the video, and that is going to be warming up before you start playing some ranked, some comp, whatever it might be. Now, it's always good to get into the habit when you're playing and when you're planning on playing to go and hop into a tea hunt. This is the best way currently that we have to be able to warm up. Normally, what I like to do, you hop into tea hunt, you give a little 1-tap, 2-tap to all the enemies inside. I usually just play on house. I know that Outback and some of the newer maps tend to not have any C4s and less gadget and stuff on the ground. So either house or Outback, two great options when you want to go in warm up. Basically, the idea is you want to try and run through it as fast as possible. You don't really care about dying. It's not about how much renown or anything like that that you get. That's not the point. The whole point is you're aiming for headshots and you're trying your best to keep control of the weapon. If you're playing with someone like Buck or you're playing with another operator that has a ton of recoil, this is also a great way to learn that recoil. Just run around, spray and pray, and try to keep the recoil down as much as you possibly can. And that's how I learned personally how to play Buck and how to use Buck at longer distances, especially with the ACOG. But this is also a great way to test out just different guns, different attachments, see how they all work, and how when you're going full speed, when you're trying to run and gun in a ranked game, in a comp game, how that's all going to really work out. And the last point I want to make about warming up and why it is so important, if you're planning on playing comp and getting to higher tiers and higher tier levels, This is a lot more consistent way of being able to warm up than relying on, say, a ranked game or a casual game or an unranked game, because that tends to be a little bit too unpredictable for you to really warm up your aim. And if your whole goal is to warm up just gameplay in general, a great idea before an actual comp match, so before you may be heading into a CL match or maybe you're heading into a tournament match, maybe go and set up a scrim. Do a little warm-up scrim, 1 map, 2 maps maybe, and get some cohesion with your team, get some warm-up with your team, and you'll be a-okay. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will try to see if I can find a couple more tips that I can maybe do another video like this. But without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to be it for today, and that's going to be Joshsnipes signing off.
I need you. Come here. We need to finish off this sub to Joshsnipes.
Oh my god, bro.
Nope, never mind. Subbing to Joshsnipes.
All right. Put that in the end.